and good evening. It is Tracy Sinclair here at Alaska's News Source, and we really just wanted to take a moment one more time to kind of go over some of these election results that we're seeing. Now, as we know here in Alaska, we have ranked choice voting. So that means that if there are 4 or fewer candidates in a race, all 4 will go through, up to 4 will go through. So we only have a couple that could be technically listed as contested, but of course, there are other races going on, even the ones that are we would consider uncontested, still interesting, and a few that we want to check out. So if you look down at the bottom of the screen, you can see that ticker going on. We will leave that up for at least a little bit so we can see the most recent numbers. These are as of about 10:30 tonight, so they're the most recent numbers that we've gotten from the department, from the Division of Elections. So let's take a look at a couple of these races, and we're going to start with this House District race that we have been talking about. Now, at this point, we have 68.1% of the vote in. Incumbent Mary Peltola is still leading with about 50%. Now, they do round these numbers, so we're not getting percentage points or decimal points. So they do round these numbers, but basically at about 50% right now is what we're seeing from the incumbent, with 45,323 votes. In second place, Nick Begich at 24,501, and Nancy Dahlstrom, Lieutenant Governor Nancy Dahlstrom, she is at 18,370 votes. That leaves her at 20%. The other candidates in the race are barely above the 500 mark, so really not actually seeing, they're not registering because of that decimal point issue. We're not seeing those numbers show up at all. They're listed as 0%, but we will take you through where we're at all the way through all 12 of those candidates. Another race that we would say is technically contested is House District 36. Now, this is the largest district in the country by area. Right now, Brandon Kowalski, a Democrat, is leading at 35%, and right behind this in second place is Rebecca Schwenke. Now, this is with only about 55% of the vote in. Cole Snodgrass in third, and Pamela Good in fourth. That has changed since we first saw numbers. And then here's where we're at for the final two: Dana Mock in fifth place and James Field in sixth. So 4 of those candidates will go through, and we're looking at about 55% of that vote being counted so far. 82.5% of the vote in District L. This is Eagle River. We've been talking a lot about this race over the last couple of days because it is a bit interesting. You have a Republican incumbent. She is currently leading at 34%, but when you look at those numbers, that's only about 60 votes separating her from her challenger of Jared Gecker. Now, we do have 3 Republican challengers in this race that are challenging and basically saying that Kelly Merrick is not Republican enough. We heard that a number of times when we talked to the candidates. If you are interested, you can go to our YouTube page, and also you can go to our YouTube page and our website, and you can listen to interviews by all 5 of these candidates. And those candidates do talk about how they feel like Kelly Merrick is not conservative enough, not Republican enough is the term that they used. Lee Hammermeister, though, he is the lone Democrat in that Eagle River race, and he is currently sitting in third position. And then the final person running for that seat, Sharon Jackson, at 7%. A couple of the other races that, again, all of the candidates will go through, but are turning out to be very close. This is for State House District 8. 8 of 8 precincts reporting, so the majority of the votes are in. Sometimes a few votes can trickle in after that, but really we're looking at a very close race between John Hillier and Bill Elam, both Republicans in that race. House District 22, also very, very close. We're looking at Ted Eichscheid. He is at 50%. He is a Democrat, very, very close, right behind him. We're like less than 20 votes separating these 2 candidates. Stanley Wright is the Republican incumbent in that race at 49%. Again, both will go through to the general election, but it is a very tight race. Now, this is a case of we have people who were in the House and are trying to move into the Senate. And this is the case. Ben Carpenter was in the House trying to move into the Senate. Right now, Jesse Bjorkman has the lead, just a slight lead, less than 200 votes at 43%, 41 for Ben Carpenter. And then the Democrat Tina Wegener coming in with 724, and Andy Cizik listed as other as his party, only about 156 votes. Again, 17 of 17 precincts are already reporting in. So we're looking at the majority of the votes are already in this race. Taking a look at District H, very similar situation. We have member Tom McKay was in the House, is trying to move into the Senate and is challenging Matt Clayman for that seat. Matt Clayman is a Democrat and the incumbent. He's currently at 59% of the vote, and Thomas McKay is at 20%. Liz Vasquez is at 19%. All three will go through, but this is the change. You're trying to move from the House into the Senate. And then when we're looking at seat R, similar situation. We have Mike Cronk. He was in the House. He is now vying to be in the Senate. Savannah Fletcher, slight lead, just a little more than 100 votes over Mike Cronk at this point. We're looking at 39 of 48 precincts reporting, and Mike Cronk is at 42% of the vote. So very close between Savannah Fletcher and Mike Cronk. Savannah Fletcher unaffiliated. Mike Cronk is listed as a Republican, trying to move from the House to the Senate. So just a quick update on some of the races that we have been following and will be following over the next couple of days. And of course, you can get the latest updates on alaskasnewssource.com. I'm going to leave this up for just a few minutes so we can continue to see that ticker as we scroll through all of the different races throughout the House. And we will continue to see those races update throughout the night. Hey, this is Tracy Sinclair here at Alaska's News Source, and I don't know if people are still up watching, but we thought we'd jump back on here and do another quick update because we did get a new update from the Division of Elections. So let's run through a few of these races and a few of these numbers. And don't forget, we are updating this ticker that you see right below. That is continually being updated as soon as we get new numbers in from the Division of Elections. This is, of course, one of the big races that we're watching. It is for the U.S. House, our lone representative in the U.S. House. Right now, Mary Peltola is still leading. She has 46,108 votes. That is now, though, 49% of the vote. So she has dropped just a little bit in percentage points, still going up in actual vote count. We're at 69.6% of the vote coming in. Nick Begich still holding steady at 27%, 25,193 votes, and 20% for Lieutenant Governor Nancy Dahlstrom. She is at 18,822. Again, we're not counting decimal points. Those do not show up on our graphic. So it looks like once you start into fourth place, we are looking at 0%. They are at point decimal. There are decimal points in there, but they don't show up, and they are rounded to 0 when you're at that level. But we are just give you a glimpse of what people are seeing and what they're getting for those vote counts. Again, back here in Alaska, as you know, we are basically, if there are 4 or fewer candidates in a race, all of them will go through because we do ranked choice voting. So we have a nonpartisan top 4 primary. So that means in the general election in November, we'll have 4 or fewer candidates to vote on. There are only 3 races that don't fit those qualifications: that House district race and State House race 36. So we're keeping an eye on this one as well. This one has 6 candidates in it. Only the top 4 will go through. Right now, Brendan Kowalski, he is a Democrat. He is leading with 35% of the vote. Behind him, Rebecca Schwanke, Republican. Cole Snodgrass, also Republican. Pamela Good, also a Republican. And then we're looking at Dana Mock, Republican, and James Field, Libertarian. Those are the final 2 of those 6 candidates. The top 4 will go through to the general election in November. And the other race that we've been watching, this is in Eagle River. We're at 82.5% of the vote coming in, and these numbers have continued to evolve and continued to change as we watch them. Kelly Merrick is the Republican, she incumbent in that race. She has 34%. Right behind her, Jared Gerker, he has 33%, and really a difference of less than 60 votes between those 2 candidates. The Democrat, Lee Hammermeister, is also in the mix in that race, and he is currently at 857 votes. We'll do a quick update to see if we do have an update on that race, and let's see if we do. Does not look like there's been a change in that race. We are continuing to hold steady at 82.5. Some of the other races that we're watching that are very close, this is for House seat District 8. Very close between 2 Republicans, John Hillier and Bill Elam. 50% for John Hillier and 49% for Bill Elam. Both will go through, but it is a close race that we will continue to watch. And then State House District 22, the Democrat challenger, Ted Eichscheid, is slightly leading. Again, very, very close. So you can check that out. Barely a difference of 50 or 20 votes, 557 to 538 votes. So very close in that race. Both will go through to the final. And we'll continue with District D. This is another of those cases where we have a person who was in the House now trying to move into the Senate. So Ben Carpenter was in the House of Representatives in Juneau, now trying to move to the state Senate. He is currently just a little bit behind the Republican incumbent, Jesse Bjorkman, really a difference of less than 200 votes for the 2 of them. And with 13 of 13 precincts reporting, Matt Clayman is in a similar situation. He is the Democrat incumbent in the Senate, but Tom McKay is trying to move from the House into the Senate. He is currently in second place with 20% of the vote, and Republican Liz Vasquez is back in 19% of the vote in District H. District R, similar situation. Mike Cronk was in the House, now trying to move into the Senate. Savannah Fletcher, she is unaffiliated, but she is slightly ahead. 65 votes, 64 votes, really just a very small difference. And we've got 44 of 48 precincts reporting in that case. So we're pretty close getting a number of those votes already counted, 43% to 42%. All four of these candidates, of course, will go through to the general election. And so we will see that all of their names once again as we move into that. We'll continue to update these. We still have some races that the precincts aren't fully in, so we will continue to follow that through the night. And as I said, we're going to leave this up for just a little bit longer while we continue to watch that ticker down at the bottom. Of course, join us tomorrow morning for the latest on the Morning Edition at 5 to 7 on Channel 2 and Channel 5.